All right.
All right.
Well, it looks like it's working. So it's Friday night, guys. Guys and gals, it is June 5th. Working on the 6th month already. Hard to believe. So we're doing well over here. A little overcast, but we're finally into summertime. 100-degree temperatures, kind of not too hot yet.
Yeah, we're just a month away from the 4th of July. That's hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been doing my gardening, doing my planting, my spring planting.
Hi, Jason.
I'm wearing my shirt with my picture of me and Jesse Coulter that I took this at a Willie Nelson concert. Jesse Coulter and Waylon Jennings were there. I took the picture. Now everything is gone except my shirt. I wear it about once a year, so it should last the rest of my life.
So what year was that? Do you know?
I don't know, probably 75.
It was
something
in the
like that.
70s somewhere.
Yeah, the mid 70s. Could have
Gotcha.
been the early 80s, but I don't remember for sure.
Okay. Let's see. We got Jason Harrison. Bull's here. Hi, Bull.
Hey, Bull.
Bull
Bob
back.
Bennett, Andy Anderson. Butch White. Charles Worcester. Okay. Bentley Manor. Hello from California. Andy Littleton.
Hey, Bentley.
Chad Benton. Darren Smith. Bill Jones.
And the
Frank,
Littletons.
Frank is here.
Hey, folks.
Bill Ross. Lori Carey. Tessa. Hi, Tessa. Greg Clark. Paul Simons.
Excellent. Good. Well, I've got a few questions, a few things that I want to answer tonight. That is kind of a common theme that I get quite a bit. Before we do that, though, I want to, you guys, if you were watching us on Facebook last night, Danny Meadows sent us our little dog who is
Chevy.
Chevy. That's what we're naming
That's
him,
what Andy
Chevy.
said I should name him,
And I like it. That sounds good to
Hi,
me.
Pam.
So Chevy, when a Ford dealership sends us a deal, we can name it. I don't know, F100 or something. 40. Yeah, we can do that. But Danny also sent us. He is a dealer
You're welcome, Frank.
for Nebo. Yeah, Nebo. He sent us a couple cups earlier, a few weeks ago, and some headlights. And they really specialize in lighting. And this is their flashlight, which is incredible.
Blinding.
Yeah, it is incredible. I won't turn it on because it's blinding for sure. But thank you so much, Danny. I love it. I took it out last night and was looking around outside, and it's substantial.
Boy, put a lanyard on that, that'd be a weapon.
Yeah, it is. It's like a nightstick.
Wow.
It's very cool. Yep.
That's bright.
Yeah, it is. So thank you, Danny. Appreciate it, buddy. Anyway, I hope you're well. All right, so we'll get into the questions. First question is from Terry Waddle. Excuse me, Weddle. I think it's Terry Weddle. He says, I sent in 2 bits to be sharpened. For those of you that don't know it, we sharpen our own bits. For premium members, it's free. For other people, it's just $7 per bit. But he says, I was wondering how many times you can usually sharpen a bit. And that varies, Terry. So I took 2 extremes. I've got a carving liner bit, which is our super extreme detail bit. And that has 1 flute. But it comes down, it's a 18-degree bit, I believe. And it is really, really tiny. So you can imagine the flute on that is pretty small. So there's not a lot of material there to sharpen a bunch of times. I think probably on this I could sharpen it half a dozen, maybe 8 times, something like that.
That's my guess.
Yeah, and then the flute would be gone. Because every time I sharpen it, some of the flute goes away. Now in contrast, this is the 90-degree V-groove bit. and I don't know how much Vic can zoom in, but there's a lot of flute there. So this, I could probably sharpen this 15 or 20 times. I don't know, that would be my
Easily.
guess.
Yeah, 25 times easily, as long as you don't,
Take
if it doesn't have any big chunks taken out of it,
Right.
you know, chips or anything, all you're doing is just touching that cutting edge 25 times easy.
Yeah. Now, with every time that you sharpen it, it actually minutely changes the shape of the bit. So by the time I sharpen this 15, 20 times, it will be smaller. It won't cut as wide because it will shrink because I'd have to take material off of both this edge and this edge. So it changes it slightly, but it still cuts. I've got 90-degree bits that I've had for 2 or 3 years, and I cut with them, you know, hundreds of times. So again, it depends. Anywhere from half a dozen.
It depends a lot on how much you're using it, how many signs you're making, and so on too.
Yeah.
If you're making 10 signs a week, it'll last longer than if you're cutting 30 signs a week. So
Right, and it, you know, another variable is the material that you're cutting. If you like to cut oak and cherry and, you know, hardwoods like that, it will dull faster, so you won't get as many in between sharpenings. So there's a lot of different factors, but from a general standpoint, anywhere from half a dozen to, you know, 25. And anything in between, and it varies depending on the situation. So, and I get that's a question that I get on a regular basis. So I thought I would just cover that. So now,
I have a couple of questions.
yeah,
Not necessarily having to do with that, but
that's okay.
Sorry, I lost one of them. Bruce Peters here. Anthony Solis. Anthony Solis says my birthday's Sunday and I'm getting your handle for my router. Probably, yeah, I think he means router basically.
Cool.
Do you guys have an affiliate link to the DeWalt routers?
We do in our Amazon store. Yeah, if you go to our Amazon store, which should be, if you can see the description on all of our videos, probably for at least the last couple years, the description on YouTube has the Amazon store link. If you can't find it, you can send me an email and I'll shoot it over to you.
So Frank asked who the lady is on your shirt. He must have come in after you. It says, who's the lady on your shirt? Lady in the picture on Dave's shirt. Hard for me to tell on my computer screen.
well,
Yeah, it's faded.
take a good look.
It's very faded. It's going to be tough to see.
Yeah.
I'm
That's Jessie Coulter. That's Waylon Jennings' widow. I told people at the beginning I was backstage at a Willie Nelson concert. Waylon was there and Jessie was there and all of Willie's band, and it was sometime in the mid-70s. And I had this picture taken and I had it put on a T-shirt. I wear this maybe once a year, and I've had it for 25 or 30 years. But at my age, it'll probably last the rest of my life. But that's Jessie Coulter.
Okay.
okay. All right. So next, I got a question from Gary Zellner. He actually sent it to me today. He said, "Is it recommended to?" And this actually could be for you, Vic. Is it recommended to polycoat a sign before applying epoxy? I'm making an outdoor sign for a guy that the last sign I made for him, he poured epoxy on it, and I'm sure he will do this again. Wonder if I should coat it with poly first.
I like, if I'm not going to put, which I've been using the penetrating epoxy lately on them, but if for some reason I don't have that, then I will use a spray finish, 2 or 3 coats of spray finish before I put the resin on, just simply because it kind of seals it up so you don't get so many air bubbles.
Yeah, and to add on to that, most of the mistakes that Vicki and I have made, at least from a standpoint of pouring resin on wood, most of the mistakes seem to be from not sealing it up
Yep.
good enough.
Exactly.
Because every time we get in a hurry and we got a video scheduling videos, and I've got a day to get it done, and we get in a hurry, and then I don't know why, but somehow we just forget. We just flat forget. So most of the mistakes that we've made with resin has been due to not sealing up the wood. So absolutely, Gary, definitely seal up that wood if your customer or you are going to put some resin on it. And again, this says he's making an outdoor sign. So another point about that, I have not found, and that doesn't mean it's not out there, but I have not found a resin, epoxy resin, that is good for outside. Everything that we've done has been for indoor, interior. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because by all means, maybe this guy knows and has epoxy resin that is good for outside. Right now, I'm working with Total Boat, and they're in the process of sending me some product to
Yes,
try
you can, cool.
that will be for outside.
Bruce asked if he can post his email for Bruce. Yes, go ahead. Charlie Wisher says, one that I've been longing to ask Dave and Eric is if you do a live edge sign fairly large, say 4 foot by 2 foot wide, how much would you bump the price up on a two-sided on a sign to hide the price of wood?
Okay, all right.
Think
I think you're asking, what do you charge for a two-sided sign as compared to a one-sided sign?
yeah.
So and if that's a question you're asking, that's a question that I get every once in a while as well. What I have found is that the cost of the wood doesn't outweigh the extra labor that you're going to have into it as far as doing a sign two-sided. Remember, if it's a one-sided sign, the finish on the back, the sanding on the back, not that critical. It doesn't really matter as long as it's sealed up. But if you're making a two-sided sign, it's got to look great on both sides. That is a pain in the you-know-what. So for me, generally, if it's a two-sided sign, twice the price. That's it. And then if the customer comes back and says, well, why don't you discount it because you only have to pay for the wood one time? Well, the extra labor that it takes to make a two-sided sign, and those of you that have done it, I want to hear your input on it too. The extra labor of having to finish a sign on one side and on the back side as well, on both sides, is so far outweighs the cost of a second board. I would rather make two boards exactly the same, put them back to back. That is so much less work. I would rather do that than do a two-sided sign. What's your thinking?
Absolutely. When you do a two-sided sign, you have to be, once you get the first side done, you have to be super careful because you're going to have to turn it over. You're going to have to handle it special so you don't make any marks on it. And it's a lot more time consuming, more than twice the time involved in making a two-sided sign as opposed to a single-sided sign where you don't have to be careful of the back of it.
And one other thing, when I'm selling that and somebody asks me and I'm selling that, I explain that to them in the email or face-to-face. I explain, listen, it's a heck of a lot more labor to make a two-sided sign than two one-sided signs. So I'm only charging twice the price, but really it's enough labor that it should be more than that. That's the last I'll say on that.
Okay, so now Frank asked, hold on, I gotta go back up here. Do you sand the poly finish for the resin to have a surface to adhere to? No, because the finish brings up the grain of the wood. It kind of brings it up to the surface. Your resin will adhere to that.
Ooh, good answer.
Okay, Dave. Do you know who? Wait a minute. Hold on. Monty Walsh is?
Monty Walsh, yeah. He's,
All right. So just a simple question. I can't tell you why.
Oh,
Rate Monty Walsh from 1 to 10.
oh, Gotta be an 8 or 9.
All right,
I thought
He's not John Wayne, but he's pretty close.
there you go.
that was a character that Tom Selleck played on in a movie.
It is.
Oh, okay. Is
That's
that who
what
he's
he's
talking
asking.
about? Oh, okay.
Okay, question.
Uh.
Have you ever tried unicorn spit? It can be a stained glazed paint, but has to be sealed with oil base. I wanted someone to give it a try in a rounded sign as a stain.
I haven't. I've seen the videos on it, and it looks pretty spectacular. I know Vicky must have seen the videos on it as well.
Probably.
Yeah, I have seen videos on it, and it looks pretty amazing. But no, I've never tried it. I never have. Okay. All right. So,
Do you want to talk first before we go further about what we're giving away?
oh yeah, the giveaway. Gosh, I never even mentioned. So we are giving away. Vicky's going to ask a trivia question. We're giving away a hat, not 2 hats. You get to pick
Great.
the blue or the black. So whoever wins gets to pick. And just as a note, we just got a new shipment of these in, so we've got plenty of them in stock. But anyway, you get a blue one or a black one. So not both of them. So Vicky will.
I won't ask the question now, but
Yeah, Vicky will ask a question in a few minutes. There's one other thing that I want to go over, and it has to do with the finishing process. Would you know the difference? So this is from Paul. Would you know the difference between using water-based poly and oil-based poly on signs? I notice a lot of water-based polys are for
Bruce
indoors.
Peter, skip the trivia, just send me the hat. Bull, you need to get in touch with Brian and find out what his new endeavor is. Ryan's making some changes in his life. You guys need to get in touch with him and find out what's going on.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, he's
Big
on
announcement.
Facebook.
Well, not everybody's on Facebook.
Oh,
That's true. There's some people on YouTube that aren't on Facebook. Yeah.
And he didn't really say what it was. He just said they're celebrating.
Well, down below somebody asked, and if you read the
read
thread
the
down
thread.
below, he did.
Yeah.
Did you read that?
Yeah.
Where he did say what it
he
was.
did say what it is.
Yeah, but not in the actual post. It was just in
He
the
didn't
thread.
give any details. He just
It was just
he
yeah.
just said what it
Yeah.
was going to
Okay.
be.
Anyway,
All right, sorry.
we're very excited for Ryan and Amy. Big adventure, and it definitely a big
No,
step
that's
for the
not
family.
The question. No.
No, that's not the question. Okay, so Paul asked the difference between using water-based polys and oil-based polys on signs. I notice a lot of water-based polys are for indoors. So, guys, I am not a finishing expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I know what I've used. I know what I like. I know, how it works. What I've used. So, so what I did is I actually went to Google and I typed in Google the difference between water-based and oil-based polyurethanes, and here it says, this is a quote right from Google: polyurethane is the most durable of clear exterior finishes. Polyurethane can be used successfully outdoors if it has the proper ingredients. Look for a finish that has additives for UV ultraviolet protection. The label should say for exterior use, so that when it dries, the finish will flex with expanding and contracting wood. And then what I always suspected that I didn't know until I read this: color. Oil-based polyurethane, like this, has an amber hue, whereas water-based polyurethane is clear. An oil-based an oil-based polyurethane will continue to amber and darken over time, while water-based polyurethane will remain clear for the lifetime. So here is I didn't bring. So this is oil-based polyurethane, Spar urethane. This is the Czar. You guys know this is my favorite. It's water-based. So what it's saying is, in essence, is that water-based can be used outside. You just have to make sure it's formulated with the UV protectors to last outside. This is by far my my favorite.
And that's
finish.
non-yellowing.
Right. It stay according to this. It'll stay clear all the time. This is a crystal clear, goes on clear. This goes on and it has an amber color to it, which is fine if you like that amber color. If you're putting it on a piece of pine and you want it to have an amber look to it, then use oil base. I like this water base. The other thing is this is a water based finish, but this is interior only. I can't remember why I bought this. It's still almost a full gallon, but I would never use this outside. But for inside, I put this in my critter sprayer and use it inside. It's again water based, but it's interior. So, you know, you definitely want to check the label and see if it says for exterior. Now, this is clear. It goes on clear. It's an acrylic. It goes on clear, and I believe it's oil based. But it again, because I guess it's an acrylic and not a polyurethane, it does go on clear, and it says it's for outdoor. I don't know that I really believe that or trust it for outdoor. I would rather use something that I used to use this up in Oatman all the time, and I would tell people that it says outdoor, but I had some people come back to me after a year or so, and this stuff kind of went bad. So I don't really trust this for exterior.
That's some questions.
Okay, bring it.
Um,
Questions. I love questions.
let's see.
I live for questions.
Have you ever carved using a pentagraph? Would you consider that freehand?
Well, a pantograph is just a duplicator. You follow a line with it. I wouldn't consider that to be freehand, but it's pretty close. You're still freehanding even with the pantograph. You're still freehanding, depending on how it's made and who makes it. But I wouldn't consider that to be freehanding. But you can do some really nice duplication work with a pantograph. If you have something, for instance, small graphic, you want to blow it up bigger, you can set your pantograph where you can make it double size or triple size. So it's pantograph is. They're pretty handy, but they're not truly freehand.
So a pantograph then, if I'm understanding a pantograph, you have a piece of paper here with an image on it, and a stylus, and you're literally following that line, but you're following it. You're not in a groove. You're not in a template. You're just following a line as the cutter over here is doing.
You have a duplication. You have a series of bars that are hooked together.
Yeah.
So that as you make a small circle here, the duplication is a bigger circle out here.
And depending on how it's formulated, it will expand it or whatever.
Yeah, and you can reverse that as well. You can use a large graphic and make a smaller version of it. So.
Okay.
But it's not. It is sort of hand duplicating, but it's not truly freehand.
Okay. There's your answer.
That would be my answer.
There's the answer to that one. Okay. Questions?
No, we're good.
That's
There's
it for
a lot
now?
of comments, but I
Okay.
don't want to.
Okay. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I wanted to go over tonight. We'll jump into the trivia if Miss Vicky's ready.
All right, you guys ready for the trivia? Oh, by the way, I have to apologize to you guys because last night while I was filming,
thank you. I wondered what you were going to say about that.
I'm an ice chewer, so the whole time we were filming, I was chewing ice. I didn't realize that you could hear it. So I have to apologize to you guys. That was my bad. Eric told me I can't take my soda or my ice out with me when we're filming anymore.
Yeah, she had no idea. And then when I replayed it, I kind of brought the phone in and replayed it for Vicky, and you could hear the crunching in the background.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded like, I don't
So
know.
like someone chewing through the wall.
Yeah, it sounded like,
Sounded like I was breaking my neck.
yeah, it was.
I'm an
yeah.
ice chewer. Sorry, guys.
Yep, she's an ice chewer.
Okay, sorry, my eyes all of a sudden started burning. Okay, so here's the trivia question, you guys. Eric has talked about this before, and he mentioned it again last night on Facebook Live. He started carving signs in Oatman. What year? When did he start carving signs in Oatman? Anybody remember?
The year, yeah.
The year.
You don't need the date.
You don't need the date.
Oh, see.
No. Oh,
You won't find that on Google.
Josh Tolson.
Josh Tolson.
2006.
2006 is correct. Great job, Josh. You're
See,
listening.
And that's not something you can Google. So.
Nope. Yeah. Yeah,
Right,
2006.
can you write his name
Yeah,
down there? Josh
Josh
Tolson,
Tolson.
you got it.
Who's got a pen? I don't even have a pen. You don't have, you reached for
Yeah, I
your
reach.
pen.
I normally have my pencil on my magnet on my hat. Anytime I need to write something down, I just reach for it.
Congratulations, Josh. Which color hat do you want?
Oh,
Black
yeah, that's
or,
right. Black or blue?
Black or blue? Hair. Bruce Peters said when he had hair.
Yes. Well, 2006, I didn't have no hair. Now.
Okay.
Okay.
Away from your face.
All right.
Black. He
Black.
wants the black.
He wants
one.
a
Can you
black.
write that
All
one
right.
down,
Yep,
please?
I got it.
Okay, I'll get it in the mail
Hey,
tomorrow.
just as a thought, I finished my design modification on my shields that fit on any baseball cap. If you want one, I'll send one along with your cap.
Oh,
Tell her
for
I said I
Josh.
thought it was hilarious, Bull.
So be sure and find out if he wants
Face
he
shield.
wants the final design on the face shield. If
Do
he
you want
wants
the
one,
face
I'll send
shield,
one
Josh?
along.
Well, it's at no charge, right?
No
So
charge.
my
We'll
hunch
just
was
send it,
he'd
yeah.
want it.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So
You can convert, with this latest design, by the way, you can convert any baseball cap into a PPE face shield in 10 seconds or less. 10 seconds or less, easy.
excellent.
All right.
All right.
No
I guess that-
pins,
Question?
no magnets.
No. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody asked a question back here. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. Question. Have you ever did a projector to draw out a design? If you have, what kind?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That's the way we used to.
We used to
Absolutely.
do
In
it
fact,
all the time.
I still have the projector, and you can you can take some the size of a postage stamp with a projector. You can blow it up to the size of a barn. So projectors are an amazing piece of equipment for sign makers.
So what kind of projector we used? We had two different kinds. We had one that was like a box like this that you, and this was the old one. You slid the paper underneath, and it took it, and then it shot it out
Just like
a
we used
tube.
in high school.
Yeah, yeah. But then we got an opaque projector. I believe that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Where it had a glass top, and you had the transparency, kind of like the old bowling alleys. And literally, we did that. You did that for all the
Rachel.
Disney characters on Rachel's wall when Rachel was.
When I was pregnant with Rachel.
Yeah, and so I've done signs the size of 4x8 sheets, and we blew up images to lay on there, and then we would just put them on there and bomb.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
use it much anymore, but
It's a great way to go.
it's a really, really good sign carving piece of equipment to have for when you need it.
Bentley Manra says, when using the critter sprayer, can I just switch out the jars if I switch products? Or do I have to get a new sprayer?
Oh no! I switch jars all the time, Bentley. I switch jars from sanding sealer to my Czar to once in a while I will spray the polyacrylic or Helmsman. Yeah, I just keep a jar for each product I have, and I just swap that
Don't
out.
you squirt water?
Yeah, then if it's water based, then I'll spray water through it for 10-15 seconds and leave water in it. If it's oil based, then you have to clean it out with paint thinner. But yeah, absolutely. Don't buy another gun. Just swap the jars out. That's what makes it so cool.
You make me laugh, Bull. Okay. All right. So
Okay. That's it. So this is YouTube. Tomorrow morning we'll be Vicky and I will be on Facebook Live at 9 a.m. Pacific time. At 3:30 in the morning, you'll see the next episode of Senior Moments. I just had one, obviously. Yeah, Senior
What
Moments
is going to be
episode.
the one out in the flower bed?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And just as a note, when you see that, you see how big those plants have grown in 2 weeks. I went out today, and they're twice as big as they were yesterday. They've grown almost an inch just in one day. Those
Yeah.
things are incredible.
It's gonna be cool.
Plant me an acre of those gourds one of these days. They are really a fun plant. And as the summer goes along, you see what they do.
You can almost watch them grow. All right, that is it, boys and girls. If you have any questions, email me, eric@makeawoodsign.com. Questions for Vicky, vickywithdavescience@gmail.com.
Questions for Dave, Dave@davesigns.com.
There you go. All right, we're all set. You guys have a great weekend. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow morning. If not, you guys have a great, safe weekend out there and do something fun. Get out and do something fun.
I think I'll go watch Monty Walsh again.
Have a good night, guys. Love ya.